Today I'm off to meet a genuine national treasure, an aviator who served through the Second World War, flying Spitfires and other aircraft type through the skies above Britain. This person is 101 years old, but remarkably, it's not a man, but a woman. Mary Ellis, veteran of the war, lives not on the mainland, but over there on that island. So I've got to get a boat to go and see her. Do you remember where you developed your fascination with aircraft?
I know I was very young and I saw aeroplanes and I thought, how lovely. I would like to be up in an aeroplane. And my father said, maybe one day you will be. Obviously, I was born with the proper genes to take me up in the sky. I've been going up in the sky for a long time.
Where did you grow up?
There was an aerodrome not too far from the farm that we had. And so I went to this little aerodrome, which is Whitney.
And when did you first climb in one?
Well, I was, I suppose, about 10 or something like that. And I was dying to go in an aeroplane. And my pa said yes, that I could. And my mother was there, and I think my mother decided I should not go. So, like a little girl, I cried. And then my pa said, tomorrow you will go. I make sure that you can go in an aeroplane and fly.
And what do you remember about that first flight?
Oh, it was absolutely wonderful. I was so small, I was strapped in and the cushions all around, but I could see out, you know. Oh, it was
open cockpit?
Yes, of course. There was little else in those days.
So tell me about the next flying experience. How did you start to learn to fly and take it more seriously?
Because when I was at school, I was not very good at hockey. I was rather small and I didn't play very well. And then it came about that I was allowed to go for a flying lesson instead of playing hockey. And this was a great delight to me. This really was splendid.
They had their own aeroplane, did they, at school?
No, I went to the Whitney airfield.
And was it clear straight away that you had a natural aptitude for it?
I don't think so at all. It's just that I wanted to do it so much that I progressed so quickly. So it wasn't very long before I was flying an aeroplane by myself. I think I got my license when I was between 16 and 17, which was absolutely wizard. It really was. To think I can go up on my own and look around the skies and the terra firma and all that sort of thing, which only someone in an aeroplane on their own could do at that time.
Did it give you a feeling of freedom?
That is exactly what it did do.
So then you left school, and how did you keep the flying up once you'd left school?
Well, I didn't do very much flying, and then the war came.
The fateful hour of 11 has struck, and Britain's final warning to Hitler having been ignored, a state of war once more exists between Great Britain and Germany. Arriving at Westminster to hear the ominous decision, statesmen set a good example, now universally followed, by carrying their gas masks.
All civil flying was stopped, so I couldn't do any more flying, and I thought, this is the end. I'll have to find something else to do.
But you managed to find a way of getting back up in the sky?
Yes, because I heard on the radio one day that female pilots were required for the Air Transport Auxiliary. And I said to my mother, I think I will apply. And she said, no, I shouldn't if I were you. But I did, and I was accepted. So there I am now, back in the aviation world, because the Air Transport Auxiliary had just started at Hatfield Airfield, and they were taking on people like me.
Why did your mother not want you to go? Was she worried about your physical safety, or was she worried about your moral safety?
I think she just wanted me to be at home with her and go to all her tea parties and her tennis parties and things like that, which was not priority in my mind at that time.
And did you want to enlist because you wanted to do your bit for the country, or you just wanted to get back up in the sky?
I wanted to do both, but I didn't know then how much one could help the country. But it was a short while afterwards, when the Air Transport Auxiliary got underway, really, that I knew I could fly some military aeroplanes and therefore help the country.
A welcome sight is to be seen in the Vickers Works at Eastleigh, one of the factories where the production of Spitfires is rapidly going ahead. In the present state of Europe, it seems that the country couldn't possibly have too many of these fighters, which claim to be the fastest in the world. Their powerful engines are lined up ready for installation, and every operation of manufacture and assembly is carried out with that delicate precision for which British workmanship is famous. On completion, the machines are given a thorough tryout, and you'll no doubt be pleased to notice the rapidity of their climb and their handiness in the air.
And tell me, what job was the Air Transport Auxiliary doing? Why did it exist?
Aeroplanes were being made like mad at different places, and they had to be delivered to various squadrons at airfields all around the country. And there were not enough RAF people to be allowed to do this job rather than fight for us. So the ATA, both men and girls, were employed to fly aeroplanes from the factories to the squadrons, no matter where they were.
And this must have been a dream come true. You got to fly aircraft all day, every day.
You're quite right. It was splendid. It really was. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would fly military aeroplanes. And as for flying a Spitfire, well, that was something terrific. One just dreamed about, but never thought of flying.
So go on then, you've talked about the Spitfire. Let's say, what was it like? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, to fly the Spitfire was absolutely wonderful because the aeroplane is such a wonderful aeroplane. It really is, and it will answer anything you ask it to do immediately. I had no instruction on the Spitfire at all, but I was flown to a factory at South Marston, and there was the Spitfire, which was waiting to be taken out and taken to the RAF. And it was on this particular day my delight to be able to do this, but I had never been close to a Spitfire before, let alone get in it. But I did.
And was it a different experience to flying the Hurricane or any of the other single-seaters at that time?
Yes, it was different from the Hurricane. Yes, it was. It was more ladylike than the Hurricane. And it was so delightful. It's almost impossible to describe how wonderful a Spitfire is and how it flies like a bird. It's so adorable. And sometimes there were ones that were painted pale blue, which went the PR up in the sky, and you could fly way up and see everybody else for miles and miles around. But not forgetting one was on duty, and one had a uniform, and so one had to respect this.
Did you have fun on those deliveries? Did you do a few little aerobatics along the way, or were you always flying straight and level, doing what you're told?
We were told not to play about with airplanes. I wouldn't say we were always straight and we had to make our own way, irrespective of the weather. You know, the weather was a great handler at times. One of the things that rather upset us girls, I think, was the fact that there might be balloons up in the sky which you couldn't see, and so one had to always try and find out whilst on the ground where these balloons might be, so that we didn't run into them. It was very dangerous, extremely dangerous, since we had no radio or any help from the ground at all. Once in the aeroplane, you were on your own. So there was no point in me having a helmet because no one would talk to me. So I just had a white scarf, and it was lovely.
But and did you must have got lost with the weather? Must have closed in from time to time. It must have been quite difficult navigating those aircrafts.
It was very difficult, but one had to use one's own imagination in the first place. Shall I take off in the first place? And if I do take off, shall I be able to cope? So having taken off, you choose a route wherever, no one to tell you where to go. All you knew, you had to take this aeroplane, be it a fighter or a bomber, to the destination that was on your little clip of paper to say you must deliver this aeroplane at this airfield.
Did you, when you were up there behind the controls, do you think, I wish they'd let me have a crack at the Germans, I could fly in combat? Were you angry that you were being restricted?
No. It was enough, and more than enough, to fly 3 different aeroplanes in the daytime. In the morning, I probably would have to fly a Tiger Moth. In the afternoon, I would probably have to fly a completely different route in a Wellington bomber, and having delivered that, I would be picked up by a taxi aeroplane, and the taxi would take me somewhere else, and said I would then fly a Spitfire. So there's 3 different aeroplanes all in one day, and they were all completely different.
Did you ever make mistakes in the cockpit and pull the wrong lever and get tired and think have a moment of thinking, God, what cockpit am I in here?
Only if you wanted to die. No, you had to know sufficient not to do things like that. And there were a lot of men and also girls that were killed just doing the wrong thing, like flying in bad visibility when they couldn't cope, and then they ran into a hill, which was unnecessary, because if we went into bad weather, we'd turn round and go back. We could go anywhere and land, as long as we kept the aeroplane safe.
How many types of aeroplanes did you fly during the war?
Well, actually, quite a few aeroplanes, but it was really only 76 different types of aeroplanes that I flew during the wartime.
That's quite a lot. Now, I know I've got a silly question, and I know this is a silly question, but do you have a favourite?
Everybody loves a Spitfire. And I flew 403 Spitfires, all different ones, different marks, different makes.
And now, when you landed, or when you must, some of the men must have thought it was odd seeing a female pilot. Did they comment on it?
Maybe, but they didn't say it loud enough for us girls to hear. So they must have wondered what it was. There was one when I delivered a Wellington, and I had gone through dispersal, where it was wanted, because I followed a little van which had follow me on the back. So I followed it round the airfield. I switched everything off and did, and then I looked out and there were a crowd of RAF people. I had nothing else to do but unbuckle my parachute. We always wore a parachute. So I undid my parachute. I opened the door of this big Wellington. It was big in those days. And I went down the steps with my parachute. And then when we got to the bottom, all these people were just looking at the airplane, and I said, well, can we please go to control, because I have to have my little chitty which says deliver this aeroplane. I have to have this signed that I have, in actual fact, delivered this aeroplane. And they said, we can't go yet, we're waiting for the pilot to come out of the aeroplane. And I said in astonishment, I am the pilot. And they wouldn't believe me. And they were so dumbstruck, I suppose. And then two bods went inside the airplane to search for it. And I said, oh my goodness me. They came out several minutes later and said, there's nobody else there. So I said, there you are. And I've flown it all by myself, whereas the RAF had a crew of 5 or 7 always.
Did you feel close to the war? Were you ever in airfields when they were bombed or strafed, or did you witness the aftermath of bombing raids, damaged aircraft, casualties? Did you feel that you were kept away from that side of things?
No, we didn't see too much of that because we were shielded from the RAF when they were flying. One thing was that we had this wonderful navy blue uniform with gold bars to say who we were, what we were, and so the RAF respected this, and they didn't make fun of us.
Was there a good atmosphere among your colleagues?
It was quite an exciting arrangement for us girls to be together first thing in the morning. There were probably 15 of us from different billets which we'd been in overnight, and then to start work at 8 o'clock in the morning and start flying aeroplanes. And we were all terribly, terribly excited, waiting for the list of aeroplanes on paper which said, like, First Officer Mary Wilkins will be flying so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And we were all very excited because we did not know until that moment what we were going to fly or where we were going to fly it, which was strange, but lovely, terribly exciting.
Some of your fellow female pilots died, did they, on delivery jobs?
They did, indeed they did.
And was that very sobering?
It was. Because there was another girl in the same billet in a different room that I was. And I got back from flying my aeroplane one day, and the CO said, I'm awfully sorry to tell you your friend was killed this afternoon. Oh, it was a bitter, bitter, bitter blow. And the CO did not allow me to fly for 2 days because she obviously thought the effect would be too great. And then after that, the CEO would say, yes, we are all very sorry, but, you know, there is a war. We do have a job to do. We all agreed, no matter what, we must go on.
This is Movie Tone, rejoicing with you in victory.
Yesterday morning at 2:41 a.m. at General Eisenhower's headquarters, General Jodl, the representative of the German High Command, and of Grand Admiral Dönitz, the designated head of the German state, signed the act of unconditional surrender of all German land, sea, and air forces in Europe to the Allied expeditionary forces.
When the war came to an end, inside, were you quite disappointed?
Yes. I just started flying a Meteor jet aeroplane, which was wonderful, and so I couldn't fly that anymore. But most men and the girls were looking for jobs, you know. Then we all departed and went our various ways, sometimes never seeing each other again. But I was asked to fly at the Isle of Wight for a farmer who had farms on the mainland as well. And so I became his personal pilot. And that was very fortunate for me because I could then fly again. Otherwise, my flying career would have been at an end.
And it sounds to me like you were only happy when you were flying, if you had a plane.
Well, I was, yes.
You can fly, no problem. It all comes back to you. Does it like riding a bike?
Yes, it does, really.
What made you such a good pilot?
Because I bothered to find the know-how and all the hundreds of little intricacies that you have to learn about flying before you actually do that. It's not terribly easy, or it wasn't then, because we had no radio. Today, people have terrific radio. They're told what to do, what not to do, where to go, what to land, everything. But us ATA girls had no one at all. We were on our own. Sounds incredible now, and people can hardly believe it, especially the RAF. They just say, it's amazing. How did you do it?
Does it make you very proud that you were a pioneer for female aviators, and now there are young women who are able to join the RAF, become pilots, and do the jobs exactly equivalent to their male colleagues and friends?
You're absolutely right, yes. It's wonderful that girls are allowed to do these things now.
Would you have been a good fighter pilot in battle?
I have no idea. At my age, no. Actually, I'm 101, coming up to 102.
What would you say to young women now who want to go into those frontline jobs in the RAF?
I would say go ahead, not be put off by anyone.